Yanmaya vashavarti vishwamakhilam brahmadi deva sura yat sattvadam rushaiva bhati sakalam rajjo yatha her brahma yat padaplavamekame vahi bhavam bodhe sthitir shavatam vandeham tamashesha karana param ramakhyamisham harim. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Om 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 Jaya Jaya Ram Om Jaya Jaya Ram Om Siyavar Ramachandra ki Jai. Hari Om. We were in the prasanga where Dhanush Bhanga has happened. Bhagwan broke the bow and he kept the two pieces on the table probably. And at this time, Parshuramji arrives. Bhagwan's Leela is also wonderful. It was a time when all other kings were ready to fight. They got angry. How can Bhagwan break this bow and just take Sitaji away while we are here? So they said, you have to fight us before you take Sitaji. Bhagwan said, I have a different plan. So while all this chaos was happening, all Mithilavasis were wondering, why did they have to create a scene at this moment? Parshuramji comes at that, Dhanush Yajna. Every prasanga of Ramayana has several layers. That if you read in between chaupais, in between the meaning of that chaupai, something new will open up and it will help us a lot in our sadhana. So this prasanga we had seen, what is the symbolic meaning, before we get into all the detailed chaupais and dohas. The symbolic meaning is, one is Lakshmanji's character, that he is such a great devotee of Bhagwan that he doesn't mind making himself look small. He doesn't mind saying things in certain way, so that when Bhagwan speaks, you can see the very distinct contrast in both their personalities, and glory goes more to Bhagwan. That was the first symbolism behind this. The second one was, Bhagwan is portraying over here that all problems need not be resolved by a battle. And in particular, he is wanting to convey some point to Parshuramji. What is the point? He says, Parshuramji, you are a Brahmana. You are a sadhu. The ornamentation of a sadhu is in good qualities. It is in their tapasya. It is in their forgiving nature. Extreme emotions don't befit a sadhu, don't befit a Brahmana. And he's saying, Parshuramji, your main swadharma, your main dharma is of a Brahmana, and you have come here with a bow and an arrow, an axe in your hand and other things. That is what I have an objection towards. Now, Bhagwan's Leela and his way of speaking is so wonderful. From this point onwards, he refuses to call him a Kshatriya. Not even once does Bhagwan address Parshuramji as king or as somebody who should be proud about his Kshatriya Swabhava. Time and again, he reminds him, you are a Muni, you are a ascetic. An ascetic should have gunas as their ornamentation. Gunas means good qualities. Okay, so Bhagavan is putting forth his point, but at the same time, he is showing his mastery over his speech. And Lakshmanji he is using as his tool to get his work done. In this entire prasanga, Bhagwan does not get angry, Lakshmanji does not get angry. He is saying many things, Parshuramji is boiling in his anger. So one side we should appreciate. What is Bhagwan trying to do? He is trying to communicate a point to Parshuramji. That if you are a sadhu, your quality should be of a sadhu, not of a kshatriya. On other hand, Parshuramji, who had come there with this point that this was Shiva Dhanush, it was belonging to my Guru, Lord Shiva, how dare somebody break it? So that was the point he had come there for, hearing the sound of that Shiva Dhanush getting broken. But after he comes there, he as though forgets about Shiva Dhanush. All that he is talking about is his own glory. His abhimana, his pride about what all things he has done, how nobody should say anything to him. So Bhagwan wants to point out this aspect also. How to stand up for something without bringing ourselves into the picture. Bhagwan is also standing up for dharma. He is saying if this is your duty, you should be doing your duty, not doing somebody else's dharma. Brahmana should do Brahmana's dharma, not Kshatriya dharma. Parshuramji initially came under the name of dharma. He said, this bow belonged to Lord Shiva. How can somebody break it? But unknowingly, that dharma became abhimana. This is a very fine line. Huh? And if you appreciate this point in this entire prasanga, we will appreciate what we discussed in Bhagavad Gita class last Sunday. Last Sunday means yesterday. Bhagwan said, Yajñarthat karmanonitra lokoyam karma bandhana. If we do any karma, any action without yajna bhava, means without dissolving our individual sankalpa in samashti sankalpa, dissolving our individual preferences in total preferences. I was told to translate Sanskrit words, which I use. So I will do my best. Whatever individual preferences we have, that offering as ahuti, offering that as swaha into total sankalpa, total resolve. If a bigger group demands something, we should be able to let go of individual preferences. And whenever we think about that topic, this question invariably comes, how can we stand up for something but yet not make it as a prestige issue? Right? Otherwise, it could be understood as not having any kind of stand. This person just keeps swaying. Whoever says whatever, is just going in that direction. Is that what Bhagavad Gita is trying to say? So we had seen there, it is not that kind of advice. What is meant there is standing up for a cause, standing up for dharma, without bringing ourselves into that picture, without making it as a point of abhimana, point of pride, and still accomplishing that work. So this Leela, Bhagwan shows over here, how to get this work done, just by speech. No arrow taken out, no axe, nothing is there. just by his speech, he is able to accomplish his work. So Parshuramji is very angry. He is in his ferocious mood. And Lakshmanji is playing his Leela. He says, why are you so angry about this bow? We have broken many bows in the past. Nobody made such a big deal. Why are you so attached to this bow? 271 Doha, that is where we were. And then Parshuramji said, look at him. He is calling it as an ordinary bow. It is not an ordinary bow. It is of Lord Shiva. Until this point, he was talking about bow. But suddenly, from 271 onwards, he starts talking about himself. So Lakshmanji first had smiled, right? Musukane was said. Suni muni bachana lakhana musukane. But now he laughs. Lakhana kaha hasi hamare jana. Lakshmanji laughs and he says, what do we know? For us, all bows are the same. Okay, there is no bigger bow, smaller bow. And this one was an old bow. If it was a new one, then we would have felt that, some regret having broken this bow. He says, this is an old one. Bhagwan even did not realize that. And don't think that Bhagwan actually broke this bow. He just touched it and it just broke. What is his fault in it? Chuvata tuta raghupati na dosu muni binu kaja kariya kata rosu. He says, Bhagwan just touched it and you are unnecessarily getting angry over it. Okay, don't make such a big deal of it. Now, Parshuramji, listening to Lakshmanji's words, he looks at his axe, Parashu, and he says, I'm getting very angry now just by this little boy. And he says, you don't know my anger. You have not seen my swabhava, you don't know my anger. And you are a small boy. Thinking that you are a small boy, I left you. But it doesn't look like you know whom you are talking to. Don't think I'm an ordinary muni. Bhagwan says this is the problem. You are thinking that being an ordinary muni is not a good thing. He says no. If you are a muni, you should be ordinary. Means don't have other indicators to show your strength. Your strength is your vairagya, your sadhana chatushtaya. All those things are sufficient for a muni. You don't need an axe, you don't need an arrow and a bow to show that. And then he goes on to describe all his accomplishments. I am a Bala brahmachari. I have done so much of tapasya. I have so much of power. I have finished the entire Kshatriya race 21 times. And Sahasrabahu was there. I finished even that Sahasrabahu. And he's telling Lakshmanji, don't get into trouble. How we tell, children sometimes. If you do something, I will send a complaint to your parents. He says, don't get Dashrath Maharaj into trouble. Don't put him under stress. Okay, so be a good boy. Don't challenge me. Lakshmanji hears this and he laughs again. He's in his own mood now. And he says, look at this Muni. He has so much of abhimana. But he's speaking with a soft voice. Lakshmanji is speaking in a very composed manner. But he's saying, look at this Muni. He has so much of abhimana. And he feels that we are some ordinary people. Myself and Bhagwan Rama, he doesn't know which Kshatriya Kula we belong to. He wants to blow away mountain by, a puff. If you just blow it and he wants to move a mountain with that. This is that kind of thing he is trying to do here. He doesn't know who he is, challenging. And he gives different examples. You see the second chaupai after 272. Iha kumhada batiya ko nahi. Means he says, it looks like he thinks us to be a pumpkin. There is a saying, probably in Avadi, that pumpkin is a vegetable which loses its, or it dries up, even if you point towards it. It is considered to be a sign of being very, very shy, not having any strength. So in village, they say, if you even point out to a pumpkin and say, this is a pumpkin, it dries up. It must be some metaphor. So Lakshman ji is saying, Parshuram ji thinks we both are like that pumpkin that you show a finger and we will dry up. He says, we are not like that. We belong to Dashrath Maharaj's. We belong to Raghukula. We are sons of Dashrath Maharaj, very brave and powerful. Then he tells Parshuram ji, I got confused looking at your axe. So please forgive me, whatever I have said. De ki kutaru sarasana bana, main kachu kaha sahita abhimana. I actually did not want to hurt you. I got confused looking at your axe. That is why I said, whatever, comments I made. I said we have broken many bows in the past and so many things. But nothing to do with you as a Muni. So again he is reminding him, you are a Muni, not a Kshatriya. Kshatriya Swabhava belongs to us, not to you. And now he says, now that I know that you are a Muni, I ask for forgiveness. So please forgive me. I will control my anger. And we don't show strength over these people. Those who are Devatas, those who are Brahmana, devotees, and cows. All of them, we don't show anger over. We are Kshatriyas. We know our dharma very well. We don't show our strength on them. We will bear insult. We will bear that apakirti that comes. Maratuha parihau tumhare. Means even if we get defeated at your hands, we will still bear it. For a Kshatriya, it is not ordinary to get defeated at anybody's hand. But he says, because you are a Muni, I am ready to do even that. As long as you give up your Kshatriya Swabhava. That is the main point here. Later on, Bhagwan Rama also will remind him the same thing. Drop your Kshatriya Swabhava, drop that axe and bow and arrow and everything. We will fall at your feet because you are a great Rishi. Now, Lakshmanji says another. This is Lakshmanji's technique to remove the power of Parshuramji. He is defeating Parshuramji just by words, just by bringing out that anger which is there in him. He is removing all his strength. He says, why do you have to carry that bow, arrow, and axe? Because your words itself are so sharp. They are just like that arrow. You can fight with anybody. You are so proud that you finished Kshatriyas 21 times. You can do it with your words only. Why do you even have to carry that bow and arrow? Koti kulis sama bachanu tumhara vyartha dharahu dhanu bana kuthara. You are simply carrying that bana, kuthara, axe and everything. Your words only are very sharp. Lakshmanji is telling Parshuramji. But then again he says, but as a Muni, if I have said something that I should not have said, please forgive me. Okay, Lakshmanji says that again. Now Parshuramji is so angry that on one side he is asking for forgiveness also, but on another side he is saying whatever he wants to say also. Now he turns to Parshuramji and Vishwamitra Rishi. Parshuramji turns to Vishwamitra Rishi and says, your student, he is your student. You have heard of Navadha Bhakti, right? He says there are 9 problems in your student, not 9 forms of devotion. He says in this little boy, he is full of problems. He doesn't know how to think. He is Manda, the Chaupai after 273. And he is very crooked. Kutila, Kala Basa Nija Kula Ghalaka. He will put everybody in his kula, everybody in his lineage in trouble. And he is the kalanka. He is the, patch in this Raghukula. On that moon, how you have those kalanka, the patches, like that he is the kalanka on Raghukula. And he doesn't listen to anybody, does whatever he wants, not even afraid of anybody. You tell something to him if you want him to be safe. Now I'm losing my anger. I don't know what I'm going to do with him now. So he tells him, if you want him to be saved, remind him of my strength. Tell him how strong I am and tell him what all things I have done in the past. Tuma hata kahu jo chahu ubara, kahi pratapu balu roshu hamara. This is the second chaupai. He tells Vishwamitra Rishi, go tell him about my strength. Lakshmanji says, why does anybody need to tell about your strength? Because I see it right now, and you yourself have told it so many times by now. Why are you asking Vishwamitra Rishi to tell it again? Now this is Lakshmanji's bhava. Huh? What he has done until now is, he has diverted attention from Bhagwan Rama. Vishwamitra Rishi now feels, or Parshuramji, he is now feeling, Bhagwan Rama is very good. He is so quiet. And look at Lakshmanji, he keeps speaking back, telling all these things. So Lakshmanji says, why does somebody else need to tell about your power? You yourself have told it so many times. And he says, if you are a Kshatriya and you are unable to control your anger, don't keep swallowing it. He says, Kshatriyas are given that freedom, that if you get angry, get into a battle. Means if you want to challenge somebody, you can go and fight it in the right way. So he says, if you want to challenge us, we are ready to fight as a Kshatriya. But for you, you call yourself a Muni also, you call yourself a Kshatriya also. That is where the confusion is happening. That is Lakshmanji's point. Huh? He says, brave people don't just keep talking about things, they really come and fight. So if you think you are a Kshatriya, come and challenge us. Don't just keep talking about what you have done in the past. And he says, you have been calling Kala and everything. Don't just keep calling Kala. Come and fight. Now listening to this, Parshuramji gets even more angry. Until now, he was just holding his axe a little far. Now he raises it as though he's getting ready to fight with Lakshmanji. And he tells everybody, don't blame it on me now. Okay, it was Lakshmanji who started it. And time and again, he is saying these things to me. Bala bilo ki bahuta mein bacha, aba yahu maranihar bha sacha. Now he has decided that his end has come. And I have, been quiet for a long time. I said, it's a ordinary boy. Let him do what he wants. But now he has crossed all my patience. Okay. Now Vishwamitra Rishi, he intervenes. And he says, oh Parshuramji, please forgive him. He's a small boy. He doesn't know what he is doing. So his aparadha you should forgive. Means again, even Vishwamitra Rishi is reminding him. You see that Chaupai, third one after 274. Bala dosha guna gana hina sadhu. Even Vishwamitra Rishi doesn't call him a Kshatriya. He says, you are a sadhu. So somebody does some mistake. You are not supposed to hold on to it for too long. And that too is a child. Bala dosha guna gana hina sadhu. Sadhu Purushas are those who don't hold on to things too long. So you are a sadhu, anger doesn't befit you. No, please forgive him. Whatever he said, let it be. Now, Parshuramji holds that axe even stronger. And in his own words, he is telling this now. Khara kuthara mein akaruna kohi. Means I have this axe in my hand and I don't have any karuna. And I am very, very angry person, as though it's a very good thing. He himself is saying that he gets angry and he doesn't have any compassion. And in front of me, this person is standing who has broken my Guru's bow. That's why he calls him Guru Drohi. Age aparadhi Guru Drohi. Means Lord Shiva's bow he has broken. That aparadha he has done, he is standing in front. And you are telling me to forgive him. If it was anybody else, I would not have done it. But because you are saying, Vishwamitra Rishi, I will forgive him. Uttara det chodai binu mare, kevala kausika sila tumhare. Because, I have so much of reverence towards you. You are my friend. That is why I am mellowing down on this Lakshman ji. Now he says, otherwise by now I would have repaid all the debt that I owe to Lord Shiva. Gurahi urina ho tehu shramat hore. Means whatever runa I have towards my teacher, whatever debt I have towards my teacher, that this Shiva Dhanush got broken and everything, that I would have finished long time back. By now, definitely I would have finished, but because you have said, I'm not doing anything. Vishwamitra Rishi smiles in his mind. This is a beautiful doha, 275. Gadi suna kaha hrudaya hasi, munihi hari arai suja. Vishwamitra Rishi smiles in his heart and says, even now he has not recognized Bhagwan and Lakshman ji. In his mind, he is only having, there are two meanings of the word Hari Arai. Hari Arai means person is seeing greenery even when it is not. Means he is feeling that he will accomplish something even when he doesn't have the power to do it. So Parshuram ji is thinking he will defeat Bhagwan Rama and Lakshman ji and everything, not knowing that they are avatars. That is one meaning. Second meaning is, he is taking Hari as Ari. Hari means Bhagavan, Ari means enemy. That is the word. Hari Arai Suja. He is taking Bhagwan Rama and Lakshman ji as his enemy. Whereas both of them are Suhrud. Bhagwan says, I am Suhrud, means I am a friend of all jivas. So that this Parshuram ji, he has misunderstood Bhagwan Rama and Lakshman ji. Ayamaya khada na ukhamaya, ajahu na bhuja abhuja. In between, Goswamiji will put these dohas for us to reflect. He says, Bhagwan Rama and Lakshman ji, they are swords made up of iron. And Parshuram ji is thinking they are sugar canes. He can just break them, put them in his mouth and chew. Ayamaya khadana ukhamaya. Ukhamaya means sugar cane. They are not as weak as that sugar cane. You remember in Sanskritam class, where to break sandhi, we had seen that sugar cane example. There are weak points in between. You hit there, it will break into two pieces. This is Bhagwan Rama and Lakshman ji are not like that. They are ayamaya. Ajahuna bhuja abhuja. Means even now, he has not understood them. Ajahu, one meaning is, even now he has not understood them. But if you want a Vedantic meaning, what it means is, Bhagwan who is Aja, one who is unborn, he is wanting to do Nasha of Aja Brahma. Ayamaya khadana ukhamaya ajahuna bhuja abhuja. That Bhagwan who is Chaitanya Swarupa, whom no weapons can do any harm. Nainam chindanti shastrani. So his parashu is shastra. What is he going to do with that to Bhagwan Rama? So that is another meaning of it. Vishwamitra Rishi is thinking in his mind. Now Lakshmanji again, he gets in his mood. He says, who doesn't know what all things you have done to clear your debts? Because just now, Parshuramji said, I would have cleared my debt to Lord Shiva. He says, we know all your previous record. You have done so many things, and Parshuramji had a lot of ferocious things he had done. We don't need to go into that. But Lakshmanji just sarcastically reminds him that I remember all those things that you have done. And he says, you see the second doha after 275. So jano hamare hi mathe kadha, dina chali gaye byaja bada badha. He says, you have accumulated lot of debt in the past. And it looks like you are clearing all of that on both of us. And it must have been long time, right? All this debt is getting accumulated. So interest also would be very high. So why don't you call the person who has lended the money? I will clear all the debt from my pocket. Lakshmanji is telling Parshuramji. Aba aniya vyaba hariya boli turat devu mein thaili kholi. I will open my pocket and I will pay all the debt. You call that person, with whom you have taken that. Parshuramji again shows Lakshmanji his axe. Parashu he has. Lakshmanji says, why are you showing this, anger over and over again? By this time, it's very dramatic scene. All Mithila Vasis who are there, every time he raises the axe, they give out a cry. Haya haya sabha pukara. Goswamiji goes in so many details. You can do a nice play on this. All different dialogues are also there and everything. So Lakshmanji says, why are you again and again showing this? He again puts his point firmly. Lakshmanji, Milena kabahu subhatarana gadhe, dvija devata garahi ke badhe. As a Kshatriya, we are not afraid of you. It looks like you have not found a Kshatriya who is very powerful, that you are so proud 21 times and all those things. And you are very comfortable in your home. Because in general, it is said Brahmana should not go in battlefield and do all those things. Because it looks like you have never stepped in a battlefield. That is why you are so proud of it. Now Bhagwan calls Lakshmanji back. Lakshmana, we have to do Leela. Don't take it to the extreme that our play gets spoiled. So he, just by indication, Bhagwan calls him back. And looking at Parshuramji, Bhagwan says something. Because he also feels that I should make sure that this ends. Otherwise, it's going on. Lakshmanji is saying something, Parshuramji is saying something. And both of them are continuously going on doing something. So now Bhagwan says few words. I was thinking which chaupai we should chant. Maybe later one more chaupai will come, that we will chant. And this we will just see after 276. Bhagwan says to Parshuramji, please don't get angry on this small boy. And actually speaking, Bhagwan is not very older to Lakshmanji. He is only few minutes older or maybe 1 day older. But he is talking as though he is very elder to Lakshmanji. He says, small boy, don't say anything to him. He is like a baby. Suda dudha mukha kariyana kohu. Very small boy. Who has those milk teeth. One meaning is that he is still having those lakshanas, those indicators of a very small boy Don't get angry on him because of whatever he has said. If he knew your might, if he knew your strength, he would not have challenged you. But he is giving a subtle indicator. Knew your strength as a Muni, not as a Kshatriya. And he says, Guru and parents, they always forgive childishness. If the boy does something very childish, just like they forgive, you also should forgive. Don't take it too seriously. Don't take out your parashu and everything. And Bhagwan, he says whatever he has to say. Okay. You remember the main point we started with, right? He wants to communicate to Parshuramji that you are a Brahmana, you are a Muni. What should be your qualities? So in and through all this, that message also Bhagwan is giving. You see what he says. Kariya krupa sisu sevaka jani, tuma samasila dhira muni jnani. This is second Chaupai after 276. Oh, please, Parshuramji, forgive him, knowing yourself to be equanimous. Tuma samasila dhira muni jnani. Knowing yourself to be very patient, dhira, one who has a lot of patience, and jnani, one who has all the knowledge. Means Bhagwan wants to say, the enemy of knowledge is anger. In that mind, when anger is there, knowledge, it is as though not available. That message Bhagwan is giving him, and he says, you are not like that. You are the one who is very patient. You are the one who is equanimous. You are the one who is having all this knowledge. By the time Bhagwan said this and Parshuramji was listening, Lakshmanji laughs again. Kahi kachu lakhanu bahuri musukane. Something he said and he laughed. Now what he said is not given here. So Mahatmas say he repeated the same line what Bhagwan had said. Bhagwan just said, you are equanimous, you are having all that qualities. So Lakshmanji, in a sarcastic way, he said the same thing and he smiled. Parshuramji got so angry. He said, your brother is getting on my nerves now. Whatever you said, you see that same thing he's saying, and then again trying to say something to me. He looks very innocent from outside, but inside he is having all these things that he is saying to me and so many things. So Parshuramji is very, very angry at Lakshmanji. And Lakshmanji, right at this time, quotes a verse from Bhagavad Gita. I don't know in what mood Lakshmanji was. 277th Doha is one verse from Bhagavad Gita. He says, Lakhana kahehu hasi sunahu muni, krodhu papa karamula. O Muni, please listen that anger is a root of all errors that we do in life. Krodha papa karamula. What Bhagwan said in Bhagavad Gita, Kama esha krodha esha rajo guna samudbhava. They are the ones that push us into doing wrong things. And he says, I am your dasa. As a Muni, I am your dasa. And please, shower some compassion on me. Don't get so angry at me. Both things he is accomplishing over here. And now again, he gets into his another mood. He says, if you are so angry about it, what is the point in only being angry? If you are so affected by that bow getting broken, let us do something about it. And he says, you have been standing for a long time. Why don't you sit down? Your legs must be hurting. You should sit down. Look at the first Chaupai after 277. Toota chapa nahi jura hirisane, baithiya hoihi paya pirane. Just by getting angry, nothing is going to happen. You have been standing for a long time. Please sit down. if you really want to get that boat together, we can call somebody and we can do something about it and put both of it together. Why unnecessarily you are getting angry and doing so many other things for this bow? Janak Maharaj was getting so afraid. He said, Sita ji is supposed to get married now. Lakshman ji, don't do something that will create a lot of trouble for all of us. So Janak Maharaj is telling Lakshman ji, to calm down. And all Mithilavasis, they also say, first time when this boy came, we thought he was a very nice boy. But he is very naughty. Chota Kumara Kota Bada Bhari. That little boy, very naughty. He is challenging this big Rishi. Mithilavasis don't know he is avatara of Shesha Bhagavan. Right? He is doing his Leela. Parshuramji is not somebody who he should be afraid of. That point which he wants to communicate, that he is putting forth again and again. And he says, again and again, our Parshuramji is listening to this and is getting that message that this Krodha by itself is not going to do anything good. And then after this, Bhagwan again pulls Lakshmanji back just by indicator. He says, Lakshmana, don't cross that line. And Lakshmanji quietly goes and sits near his guru. Okay. Now Bhagwan is speaking something. Okay, after 278 Doha, this we will sing. Ati binita mrudu sital bani, bole Ram jori jugapani. Sunahu nath tum sahaj sujana, balak bachanu kariya nahi jana. Balaku bachanu kariya nahi kana. Barare balaku eku subhau, inahina santa bidoshahi kau. तेहि नाही कछु काज बिगारा, अपराधी मैं नाथ तुम्हारा. कृपा को बधु बंधव गोसाई, मो पर करिय दास की नाई. कहिय बेगी जेहि विधि सजाई, मुनि नायक सोई करौ उपाई. कह मुनि राम जाय रिस कैसे, अजहु अनुज तव चितव अनैसे. एहि के कंठ कुठारु न दीन्हा, तो मैं काह कोप करि कीन्हा. गर्भ स्रवहि अवनि परवनी, सुनि कुठार गति घोर. परसु अछत देखौ जियत, बैरी भूप किशोर. सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय. उमापति महादेव की जय. बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय. श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. Bhagwan in this entire prasanga shows his composure, calmness. No matter what Parshuramji says, his tone is the same. Generally we see one person gets angry, other person while responding gets angry. You see how Bhagwan Rama, he responds. His Bhagwan's words were like water. When it was very cool, very flexible. Bhagwan's personality is like that. Whatever the situation demands, he will respond to that, but without getting any kind of agitation within. Ati binita mrudu sitala bani, bole Ramu jori jugapani. With folded hands, he is telling to Parshuramji. He says, "O Muni, please ignore his words. There is, a wasp which sometimes stings a person. But because it did it unknowingly or that is how its nature is, we don't get, overly mad at that wasp. You see, this child is like that. Please don't get angry at him. And whatever aparadha is done, I have done it. I have broken the bow, not Lakshmana. Now, this is the point from where Bhagwan shows his love for Lakshmanji also. It continues all the way until the war. When Lakshmanji is hit by that arrow from Meghanada, he said, whatever you have to do, you do it to me, not to Lakshmanji. Why are you getting so angry at him? And time and again, Bhagwan is addressing him as Brahmana, not as Kshatriya. And Parshuramji is telling him, how am I supposed to control my anger? Because even now, this boy is looking at me, he's smirking at me, with his eyes, he is looking at me like this. How am I supposed to control my anger? And again, he starts bragging about his strength and everything. But what is happening now is Parshuramji is getting weaker and weaker inside. Because when anger comes, it makes a person weak. So same Parshuramji who said so many things, he says, my hands are not moving up. But my mind is so agitated. It is burning with anger towards this Lakshmana. And he says, my axe has become blunt. This is the first chaupai after 279. He says, my axe is becoming blunt. And fate, destiny is there, which has changed my nature. That I have not done anything to him. He says, Bhagwan has given some kind of compassion in my heart. And I don't know anything called as compassion, but because destiny has brought it, that is why it has come in my heart. And he says, strangely, I'm feeling a lot of sorrow because of this compassion. Why? Because on one hand, there is anger. On the other hand, I have not done anything to Lakshmanji. And once again, Lakshmanji laughs. Suni Saumitri Bihasi Siru Nava. And he says, it looks as though today there are favorable winds that are blowing by your grace, O Parshuramji. Just like when winds blow, all the flowers fall down. Everything that you have said is like that flower which has fallen down. And he says, if compassion is burning you, I wonder what will happen to you when you get really angry. Only Bhagwan can save you if you really get angry. Because just now you said that there is compassion in your heart, which you otherwise are not familiar with. That is what is saving you. So with your compassion, you are getting so angry. What will happen to you if you get really angry? Janak Maharaj is looking at, Parshuramji is looking at Janak Maharaj. He says he's really crossing his boundaries now. He has decided that he wants to go and stay in Yamaloka. He tells Janakji, please take him away. Don't keep him in front of me. He's again and again seeing these many things. Lakshmanji, he is in a totally different mood. He says, why do you need to tell Janak Maharaj to take me away? I will tell you a simpler method. So just close your eyes. I will not be seen. Right? This is the fourth chaupai after 279. Munde aakhi katahu ko nahi. Just close your eyes. You will not see anybody. Why are you making such a big deal of it? Now Parshuramji gets angry at Bhagwan Rama. Until now, he was getting angry at Lakshmanji. Now he gets angry at Bhagwan Rama also. He says, you are also involved in this. With your support only, your brother is saying all those things. Bandhu kahai katu sammata tore, tu chala binaya karasi kara jore. And you are doing this all appearance that you have come with folded hands and you are telling me, don't get angry and everything. But I know you also are supporting your brother. And he says, if you are so proud about being a Kshatriya, Parshuramji is telling Bhagwan Rama, he says, come and fight against me. But fight without any chala, without having any other tricks involved. Just come and fight with me one-on-one. And again, he holds his axe, and then is trying to show them that he is ready for a battle. Now, Bhagwan, he is giving a very beautiful insight over here. Gunaha lakhana kara hama para roshu katahu sudhaihu te bada doshu. This is the third chaupai after 280. He says, mistake Lakshman ji has done. Means in terms of saying things and everything. I asked for forgiveness on his behalf. But now Parshuram ji is getting angry on me only. That is not right. Sometimes if you don't say something at the right time, then you will be mistaken to be doing that, or you will be mistaken that you are part of that thing. Just like right now over here, Parshuram ji is mistaking Bhagwan to be endorsing what Lakshman ji is saying. That's why Bhagwan gives example. He says, Teda jani saba bandai kahu. Full moon, nobody is interested in. He says the Dvitiya moon which is there, although it is Teda, it is little crooked. That moon everybody worships, not the full moon. Means he is drawing the line between being simple and being a simpleton. Okay. He says one should not be a simpleton, one should be simple. So if I don't say anything, this Muni is thinking me also to be part of this. Bakra Chandra Mahi Grasayina Rahu. Okay. So different example he is giving of eclipse. He says one should not be very simple. Now whatever Lakshman ji had said, same thing Bhagwan Rama also says. Okay, whatever things Lakshman ji had said, same thing Bhagwan Rama says. Meaning what he wants to say is, all that we are trying to correct, all we are opposed to is your Kshatriya Swabhava. So whatever Lakshmana said was true, but not in the way that you are understanding. Okay. And he goes on to say the same things. He says the problem is only with your form. Lakshmana misunderstood your kuthara, and that is why he said those things. Please forgive him for that. We don't have any enmity towards you as a Muni. This is 281. Beshu bilon ke kahesi kachu, Bala kahu nahi dosu. Means his dosha is not inherently there in him. Okay. Whatever he might have said, that you forgive, but it was only looking at your appearance, not otherwise. He thought you to be a Kshatriya, and he responded according to how he was trained. Kshatriya, if somebody challenges, that is how they will respond. Not that he really wanted to say something to him. And now he says, there is no comparison between us. If you had come to us as a Brahmana, we would have fallen at your feet. Because dust of the feet of Brahmana is something that has to be put on our head. We have no comparison between us and you. You see, Bhagwan is talking from his heart, not that he is just saying something. He says only your Kshatriya Vesha is what we have objection with. And he goes on to praise Parshuram ji. We have only one bow, he says. And that bow has one quality. But you are such a great Muni that you have so many qualities. You have 9 qualities, all those things which should be there in a Brahmana. And then he says, my name is Rama, your name is Parshurama. Even name-wise, you are greater than me. So we would not challenge you as a Muni. As a Muni, we respect you and we revere you. But still, Parshuramji is not convinced. He's still having some kind of anger towards Bhagwan Rama. And then he says something which is completely against Shastra. Okay, after 282nd Doha, even though Bhagwan is addressing him as Muni over and over again. You see the 282 Doha, first line is Bara Bara Muni Viprabara Kaha Rama Sana Ram. Bhagwan again and again is addressing him as Muni, but he is not happy with that title. He is getting angry and he is telling Bhagwan, don't consider me to be an ordinary Muni. I am not the one who will sit in my ashram and do homa and do this yajna. My yajna is of a different kind. What is that kind? He says the ladle which is there in that yajna, that is my bow. Okay, with that bow, I do my kshatriya yajna, which I am doing. And ahuti, which you generally put as some ghee and some firewood is there and other samhit is there which is put. This is my ahuti are the arrows. With that arrow, I do my yajna. And what is the fire in which you put that ahuti? He says that fire is my anger. In that anger, I put this ahuti. And the wood which is there to support that fire, that wood is my entire army. And you have different mantras which are chanted while doing that yajna. The cry which you hear in the war, that is my mantra. With that, I do my yajna. Don't consider me to be any ordinary Muni. Bhagwan says you are not getting the point. If you are Muni, you should be ordinary. You should not be proud about all these other things. Now, again and again, after saying everything, he's still, getting angry at Bhagwan. He says, you are very proud that you have broken this bow, and that is what is making you very arrogant. Now, Bhagwan again speaks. This is the Chaupai before 283. Rama kaha muni kaha hu bichari, risa ati badi lagu chuk hamari. Bhagwan says, our mistake is very small, but your anger is very big. So please think again before doing anything. And again, he goes on to repeat the same thing that Lakshman ji had said. You see what he's saying there? Now Bhagwan is saying this. Chuat hi toota pinaka purana, मैं kehi hetu karau abhimana. I just touched the bow and it broke. What abhimana can I do over that? Same thing what Lakshman ji had said. He is also saying the same thing, Bhagwan Rama. Means what he wants to say is, what Lakshmana has pointed out, that this Parshuram ji has not understood yet. And he says, now he is putting forth his point. If you are so proud about being a Kshatriya, then you come and fight against us. Bhagwan Rama is also saying the same thing. There is no Kshatriya whom we are afraid of. If you really think you are a Kshatriya, then come and fight. And that Kshatriya who runs away from a battle, that Kshatriya is, a kalanka in that lineage. He will not bring any fame to his dynasty or the family. He is somebody who is, a coward. And Bhagwan again says, now there is a difference between you telling about you are a Kshatriya and I telling about we are a Kshatriya. What is it? That you are proud about yourself. I am not proud about myself. I am just telling the quality of a Kshatriya. Okay, Bhagwan clarifies that in the second Chaupai after 283. He says, Kahahu subhau na kulahi prasamsi. I am just telling Swabhava, I am not bragging about anything over here. This is how Kshatriya Swabhava is, and we are proud about it. So having said all this, Bhagwan says another Chaupai, which is very beautiful. You see the third one. Vipra bamsa ke asi prabhutai, abhaya hoi jo tumahi derai. The greatness of Brahmana Vamsha is such that one who is afraid of you becomes fearless. Abhaya hui jo tumahi derai. One who is afraid of Brahmanas like you, they will become fearless, and we are ready to do that. We are Kshatriyas, we know this greatness of Brahmana. Okay. Now listening to this, finally, that cloud which was there in the mind of Parshuramji, that goes away. Means time and again he was getting angry at Lakshmanji, getting angry at Bhagwan Rama. Now that cloud goes away. Suni mrudu gudha bachana raghupati ke. Bhagwan accomplished this entire thing with just his speech. It was mrudu and it was very deep. Ughare patala parasudhara matike. Parshuramji understands and he says, "O Rama, I have this bow which belongs to Lord Vishnu. Can you string this bow? Then I will be convinced that you did the right thing and you are really strong. That I will be convinced." Bhagwan Rama is Avatara of Lord Vishnu. Before Bhagwan could say anything, that bow just went to its master. Everybody was stunned. Parshuramji understood that this is not an ordinary prince. He is none other than Avatara of Lord Vishnu. With that, Parshuramji's anger calmed down and he does a very beautiful stuti of Bhagwan Rama and then goes on to do his tapasya. That stuti we will see in the next session, but today I wanted to complete this portion because most of it is, we should hold on to the main essence of this entire prasanga. It is not about the dialogues and other things. Whatever we reflected in the beginning, that is the main theme of this. How to accomplish things with speech, putting forth a point without making it as a point of abhimana. And at the same time, appreciating that whatever role we are doing, nothing is small or big. So if a Muni has to do his own sadhana, has to do his tapasya, yajna, he should be proud of it, not think that only with Kshatriya Swabhava he will be respected and revered. Okay, we'll see that in the next session. Appreciating that whatever role we are doing, nothing. Aganita Gunagana Bhushan Rama, Ashrita Vatsala Jaya Jaya Rama, Ayodhyavasi Sita Rama, Apad Bandhava Jaya Jaya Rama, Dasharatha Nandana Shri Rama, Dashamukha Mardana Jaya Jaya Rama, Kausalya Sukhavardhana Rama, Kamita Phalada Jaya Jaya Rama, Papa Vimochana Shri Rama, Pattabhirama Jaya Jaya Rama, Janaki Vallabha Sita Rama, Jaya Raghurama Jaya Sita Rama, Vanara Sevita Shri Rama, Varidhi Bandhana Jaya Jaya Rama, Hanumat Pujita Sita Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, Raghupati Raghava Raja Rama, Patita Pavana Sita Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Ram Jaya Jaya Rama, Syavara Ramachandra ki jai, Satgurunath Maharaj ki jai. Hari Om everyone.